Cell, how many? The bigger an organism, greater is the number of cells in its body. That means if the size of an organism is larger, there will be number of cells will be present in its body. That is, depends on the size or structure of an organism, the number of cells will be differs. There are three types of cells, types of cells in an organism. So first one is a single celled. So many of the small plants and animals, they are made up of a single cell. The animals or the plants, the lower animals, they are made up of one single cell, one cell. So they are called single celled or unicellular organisms. Example, bacteria, yeast, amoeba, etc. Second one, few celled. That means some of the animals or some plants, they are made up of fewer number of cells. That means it may be around 100 to 1000 cells it will be present in its body. Example, Spirogyra volvox. Third one, multi-celled organisms. Multi-celled organisms means in the organisms, either plant or animal, these animals contain more than millions or billions of cells. They are made up of, these organisms are made up of millions or billions of cells, so they are called as multicellular organisms. Example, human beings, mango tree, etc. Cells, how small? The size of the cells. The smallest cell is bacteria, that is 0.3 to 5.0 micrometer, and in case of human body, the smallest cells which is present in human body is red blood cells. They are 7 micrometer in diameter. Longest cell is nerve cell, so that is they are from our fingertip to the spinal cord inside our backbone. So that much long the nerve cells are. It may be from the fingertip to the spinal cord. So that much long the nerve cells. Largest cell is bird's egg, that is ostrich egg. Smallness of cells, that is a greater efficiency. The size of the cell is small, so it has the greater efficiency. So cells generally remain small in size, and this is because the cells are always in a smaller in size. It is because of two reasons. That means, first one, different regions of the cell can communicate with each other rapidly for cell to function efficiently. That means the number of cells will be present in our body, so they need to communicate with each other. So when if the size of the cell is small, it can rapidly, easily it can communicate with each cell to function properly. Second one, cells have a large surface area or volume ratio for greater diffusion of substances in and out of the cell. If the cell is small, it has the larger surface area or the volume for a greater diffusion of substances in and out of the cell. That is, because of large surface area, the substances, the cells need the nutrients, it requires water or the excess amount of water needed to release out from the cell. So these everything function which takes place. So it has a large surface area or volume ratio. So to understand this second point, just imagine a cube with each side measuring 2 millimeter. Okay, just look at the figure. There is a cube and each side measuring 2 millimeter. Okay, each side of the cube which is measured as a 2 millimeter. So there are 6 surfaces in the first. So totally there are 6 surfaces in a cube. So the one side is 2 mm and another side will be 2 mm. So totally the surface area of this cube is 2 mm in one side and 2 mm in another side. So total there are 6 surfaces. So total is 24 square millimeter. Now suppose if we cut this cube into 6 equal smaller cubes. Now same cube we are going to cut into 8 equal smaller cubes by reducing each side half its previous length. Before it was a complete a cube, it was the sides were 2 mm. But here we are going to cut the cube. When it cut, it becomes half. So when it becomes half, it became 1 mm. So here there are, when we cut the cube, it becomes 8 pieces and 6 surfaces. In one cube there are 6 surfaces and the surface measured as 1 mm. So when we count it by using the 6 surface and 8 pieces and the each sides measuring as 1 mm. So finally we get 48 square millimeter. So which is a double of that original larger cube. Before we got 24 square millimeter, and second time when we cut the cube we got 48 square millimeter. So now it is a double of that original larger cube. So the total volume is in both cases still remains same. So the volume will always remains same. Cell shape to suit functional requirement. That is, each cell has its own structure or it has its own shape. So depends on the shape it functions. So there are different types of shapes. It may be disc-like, polygonal, rectangular, cuboid, thread-like, branched or irregular, or different shapes are present for each cell. So depends on the shape it performs the function. So let's see some of the examples. Here red blood cells. Red blood cells are present in human body and they are circular or biconcave in shape. Circular or biconcave in shape. So this shape will help to transport the oxygen through the capillaries. It can easily transport the oxygen through the capillaries easily. Second one, white blood cells. White blood cells are amoeboid or irregular in shape. It may be irregular shape or amoeba shape. So this shape will help to that can squeeze out through the capillary walls. So which helps to squeeze out through the capillary walls. Next one is nerve cell. Nerve cell always it is a long cells. So these long cells or nerve cells which helps to transport the impulse from different parts of the body to the brain. That is from all the body parts or maybe from the tissues, all the information or all the signals which is taken to the brain, spinal cord and etc. Next one is muscle cells. So muscle cells are also long and contracted. So this shape will help to pull or squeeze the parts, or when we get uh, the muscles get contracts or relaxes, there will be changes in the muscle activity. So there it can be a pull or squeeze the parts. Next one is guard cells. So guard cells are present in the leaves. So they are in bean shaped, and these guard cells of the stomatal pore in the leaves are bean shaped to open and close the pore. That is, during the transpiration process, these guard cells opens and closes. So this function is done by these guard cells. So this is about different shapes of